Hey everybody, and welcome back to Life with Lolo. It is time for another weekly recap of Power Book 2, Ghost. It was season 1, episode 2, and it was titled Exceeding Expectations. I'm still trying to figure out why it's titled Ghost. I guess, is Tyreek supposed to be like Ghost, or is it because they still talking about Ghost? I don't know. But it was just like a little confusing. So, this episode, I enjoyed this episode more than I enjoyed last week's episode, and I think it's because we had more of Monet in it. But overall, the episode was good and it was interesting. We saw like a few nuggets here and there, so I think it's going to be good. Hopefully, it's going to be good coming forward when we start seeing like what is up with certain people, especially. Let's just jump into it. So we see Tasha, she pacing back and forth and she's in the interview room or whatever. We see the ignorant, rude CEO, she watching her or whatever. And I'm like, what's up with her? Because she's just watching Tasha and she's smiling and stuff. So I'm like, we got to keep an eye on her. We see that Tasha is waiting for her lawyer because Davis walks in and she like, where have you been or whatever. And then beside Davis is the PI. So she like, who is you? And she was like, well, I'm Carla. I'm his private investigator or whatever. Anything you say to him, you can say to me and it's still confidential or whatever. And she like, can I afford you? And here go Davis. Well, right now you can't afford me. When I'm going to expect another payment. It's like, well, damn. And so Carla was like, well, will the payments be coming from your son and will they always be in cash? And Tasha looking like, Tyreek been paying? She was like, well, I was thinking the payments was coming from Simon Stern. And they was just like, And she was like, okay, but I promise you I'm going to get you your money and whatever like that. Can you tell me what's going on? So the PI start asking her all these questions, child, because they trying to figure out why Sachs is charging her with this queen pin charge or whatever. Davis is upset with Tasha because he like, look, you didn't tell me anything about Tommy. When I looked Tommy up, I just saw like this little rap sheet and stuff. You ain't tell me that he was involved in all this other stuff because Tasha slipped up and was like, yeah, I don't know why he charged me with Ghost thing. They was like, oh, so you knew Ghost was under investigation and he was this drug dealer, murderer, all this other stuff. And she was like, yeah, I knew my husband was a MFN. I knew my husband James St. Patrick's was Ghost and he was a MFN drug dealer, murderer, son of a, like all this stuff, right? And they was just like, oh, okay, so why you ain't tell me? David's like, well, you should have told me all this information and everything like that. Why you ain't give me all this? And I'm like, well, before you ain't even care about the truth. Now you care about the truth because now he like, I need the truth. Act like you was he telling her that give testimony like she was under oath and all this other stuff. I'm like, but Tyreek hired you because you don't care about the truth, but now you care about the truth. I'm like, this is interesting. And then the PI wants to know, like, she want to know if Tasha was involved, basically. She like, because your name was on all the books, your name was on the bar, the house, the this, the that. And she like, well, I might have set up a few accounts or whatever. She was like, so you were cleaning the money. I mean, he like, be quiet. So then he start asking her all these questions like, did you hire people to murder people? She was like, for Tommy and Ghost. And then the PI was just like, why are you asking that question? And Tasha don't say that. She just looked at her. So then he had to rephrase the question because he obviously knows she was selling drugs or something like that. He was like, well, was you ever under what did he say? Something like, was you ever working for Tommy and Ghost to kill? Not Tommy and Ghost. Yeah, Tommy and Ghost to kill people or sell drugs. And she was like, no. And she said no to like two other questions. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you knocked the queen pin. But now we need to figure out why they charge you with this. So we see Tyreek, he counting money or whatever. He's short. He like, God damn. So I guess this is the money he got from Epiphany, from, the drug sales and stuff. And this is the money he was going to pay Davis or whatever. So then we see Zeke, he come out the bathroom, Tyreek talking to him or whatever. Zeke ended up telling him he was going to his aunt's house that night to, have dinner and stuff. So Tyreek was like, oh, well, can I get an invite or whatever? Because I'm tired of the, the childhood food or whatever. And he was like, all right, I see what I can do, man. I see what I can do. Then Tyreek gives him the book report on Moby Dick. And he was like, look, you need to read this book report because she going to ask you questions and stuff. He was like, all right, man, I got you. No, like, I mean, you need to really read it. So Zeke takes the book report. He goes out or whatever. And Tyreek, again, he late for class. Child, why they in there talking about the book Great Expectations? Why was light skinned Keisha? She in the class, child. She just is ghetto and nails all long and just. I said, oh my goodness, her name was Chandra, something long, child, and she giving the this white girl, she giving her explanation on the book or whatever, and then a light skinned Keisha, Brashandria, I think that was what it. She like, yeah, because just like a white man always stealing shit. I wish a nigga would and stuff like that. So this black guy, Richard, he like, he said something ignorant. She was like, you need to mind the business that pays you, Richard. I was just like, oh my God. So she was just loud and ghetto. Look like she don't even belong in the class, but you can't judge a book by its cover because obviously she's smart enough to be in this class. Anyway, the professor he introduces Tyreek to the class and stuff like that, and then he asks him a question about the book. Tyreek answers the first question. Here go Lauren, because he's sitting next to Lauren, child. She like, well, what did you think about such and such and such and such? He like, I didn't. And then the professor like, you didn't finish the book. Yeah, this the second time you ain't finished this book, man. Like, we got other classes and stuff like that you can take that might meet your expectations or might not be as hard for you to do. Brushandria, she like, ooh, the professor got time to say, y'all. Tyreek looking all dumb, and Lauren just like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like, girl, shh. You read the room. You know that boy ain't read that damn book. Anyway, we see Davis. He texts Tyreek, and he's like, we need to meet up. So we see Tyreek meeting up with Davis, and I don't know where, child, but they meeting up. And Davis is basically telling Tyreek what's going on with his mom. He like, look, they getting her underneath the queen pin thing or whatever. What do you know? And he like, well, my dad was, the kingpin or whatever. My mom ain't had nothing to do with this. He was like, yeah, that's what your mama said. He was like, but you don't believe her? He's like, look, I don't know what to believe. All I know is we need to get her off of here or whatever like that. We need to get her out of jail. We need something to, get her out or whatever. So he asking Tyreek to deliver the eulogy at the funeral, and during the eulogy, he basically wants Tyreek to say like bad stuff about James. They basically blow up his spot. Basically, tell the world what James is about. Tyreek like, you want me to do that or whatever? He was like, look, it's about your legacy or your mama legacy. Well, no, what do you say? Your dad's legacy or your mom's legacy? Something like that. And Tyreek was like, I don't know. He was like, look, man, you need to grow some balls. And then he went and left. We see Tyreek going back on campus, and Brayden runs into him. So Brayden, he asked him about his dad's funeral and stuff like that, asking him, you want me to come? Tyreek like, no, I don't need you there, nothing like that. And then they start talking about the strip club. And then Brayden was like, yo, I think I gave that girl my Vimo password, but it was all worth it. I said, what the hell? He ain't never had no pussy. You just gonna get a stripper, your child. You better cancel all your cards. But anyway, he asked Tyreek like, "Yo, was that girl? She's selling your stuff for you or whatever?" He was like, "Man, what you talking about?" He was like, "Look, whatever you was into at the college, I want to get back in on that. And if you doing it right now, I want to get back in on that too." And he was like, he said, I don't think he said nothing or whatever. And so, Brayden was like, well, what did he say? Yeah, Brayden invited him to his brother's frat party and stuff like that. And Tyreek was thinking about it, but then it looked like Howard Stern, why I keep calling this man Howard Stern? Simon Stern texted him, and then Zeke texted him and was like, Auntie said it's okay coming to dinner or stuff like that. So then Tyreek was like, no, man, I got other plans. He was like, what's more better than some pussy? Like, what? So Tyreek goes, and he goes off to class. I don't know where the hell he go. But anyway, we see Monet. That's Mary J. Blige's name. Monet. I told you I was going to learn these names. So we see Monet. She with the cop. So remember the cop who came when Kane was about to shoot old dude in the street in front of the house and stuff, and the cop pulled up? She's sleeping with him. So he's in the bed and he looking at the ring and stuff, and she like, look, you need to mind your business type thing. That ain't got nothing to do with you. And he was like, well, why would you be with somebody who in jail? Don't you want a connection and stuff? And she was like, a connection can't give me protection that Lorenzo give me. Can you give me that? Or whatever. And he's just looking like, well, I told you I got you and stuff. And she was like, So then she looks at her phone, I guess look at the time or something. She like, look, you got to go. The kids can't see you here, especially Kane. because Kane must got an issue with the cop, or I don't know, but Kane don't like him because she don't want Kane to see her with this cop or whatever. So he like, all right, he get ready to go. We see Zeke, he with the professor. I think her name is Hillman. He flirting hard. No, not Hillman, Milgram. He flirting hard with her, child. And she like, so what about this paper? What about Moby Dick? What did you find interesting about it? He gave like some bullshit ass answer, but she's so involved or worried about what Tyreek is doing. And this is like, I'm like, what is with her? Like, something is with her, because she's so involved in what Tyreek is doing. And she like, well, his dad's funeral is tomorrow. How's he doing and stuff? He was like, well, I don't know. We don't talk like that. But where you from? How you doing? I'm from down south. He is flirting hard. And she like, oh, okay. Well, it was nice talking to you. We'll talk later or whatever. And he was like, so I gotta talk to you after my quiz and stuff. And she was like, yeah. So he leaves. She go texting Tyreek that she need to meet with him. I said, something ain't right with this professor. I don't know. Do she? I hope she don't be sleeping with her students, because that would, child. Anyway, we see Tyreek, he meeting with Stern, and they talking, because Stern is like, he got a call from Davis, and Davis told him like what he needs Tyreek to do and stuff like that. And Tyreek is like, well, I need to, protect my mom and stuff. And he was like, yeah, you just like your father always want to protect other people and stuff like that, and you can see the future, but you can't see from above. Like, you can't see like the big picture type thing. And he was like, I know you want to be there for your mom and stuff like that, but me and you, we business partners. How would this go for the business? He was like, I'm gonna be all right. But your legacy and all that other stuff, that might not still flourish if you step on that stand and say some ill stuff about your daddy or whatever. So he's trying to think about, like, Tyreek is thinking about it, basically. Then we see Davis there in the office, and then it's like a split thing. So it's Davis talking to Carla, and it's Sax talking to John and the DNC. I don't know what the DNC's name is, so we just gonna call him DNC. And they're both basically talking about the case. So Davis is talking to Carla, and he's like, look, they know that she not no queen pin and stuff like that. She like, look, Tyreek and Tasha, they both liars. We just need to drop this case or whatever. Sax talking to the bosses and stuff, and Sax is telling them like, look, she's not this queen pin. She didn't do all of this stuff. Why are we trying to get her on this or whatever? John and them like, well, can you prove that she didn't do all that? And he was like, no, because you can't prove a negative. They was like, exactly, she the queen pin. They can't prove it either. So go ahead and do that. So back with Davis and them, they were like, Davis is like, she didn't do this, she a mom of 3, she was too busy raising her kids, yada yada yada. And Carla like, look, you're not gonna pull that up there on that stand to make her look like she innocent and stuff. She's too much involved. You cannot convince somebody that she's not involved with this or whatever. And what was John? Sax and John was talking about something. Because Sax kept saying, like, we know she not the queen pin. John was like, we do? What we know? And the DNC is like, what y'all prove in court? And he was like, nothing. He was like, exactly. We ain't proved nothing. So they don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. We gonna charge her with this thing or whatever. So then Davis was saying they gonna put it all on Ghost and Tommy, basically. The DNC was basically like, Tommy gone. Ghost dead. Tasha is the last one standing. Boom, she get the needle. I said, ooh. John was just basically like, don't let us down. Do what you got to do. You can get unlimited resources, unlimited funds, and something else, he said. And so now we see Sax. I'm going Sykes. Sax, his wheels is turning, child. I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. My lips is dry. So, we see Tasha. She getting a visit or whatever. So, it's the whole telephone thing. Tasha talking to Tyreek. She telling him, like, basically, she knows what Davis asked him to do. And she like, what you gonna do? Because Stern makes a good point or whatever. Like, you can't F up this money and stuff like that. Because then what, basically? And Tyreek is like, well, I need to protect you and stuff. And she like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to say? Like, do you want to go up there and say this or whatever? And he like, I really don't know. Like, I don't know. What can I say? Like, I just don't know or whatever. So she asked him, like, how's he getting this money? Like, she like, did you open up the daycare or whatever? How? And he was like, no, I ain't opening up the daycare. She was like, well, how you getting this money? Well, how's school? Because she can't ask him about, the drugs and all the other stuff because they are being recorded. And so she can't do all of that. So she was just like, well, how's school going? And he was just like, oh, it's going well. Like, yeah, I got you. You can't ask me none of those questions, whatever. We see Sax. He's in his office. He offering this cop. It looked like he was a cop. This position basically to help investigate, investigate with him into Tasha, Ghost, and all this other stuff. Basically what Rodriguez did. But the dude is like, no, cause something ain't right with you. Like, you just got fired 2 weeks ago. You just got escorted out of here. You just had a warrant for your arrest. And now you back in here 2 weeks later with an office and whatnot. Something ain't right. Something ain't going on right about this. I ain't with you. And he was like, in the way Donovan died on your watch and stuff like that. Donovan was my supervisor. I looked up to this man. No, I can't work for you. And so Sax was like, look here, man. Donovan blood is on my hands and I feel guilty. And he goes into this whole motivating speech of why the guy should work for him. And then Sax was like, oh, and, the prosecutor, Davis, he was like, oh, McLean? He was like, yeah, I know he screwed you on a couple things or whatever like that. So, I mean, yeah. So he done pulled on his heartstrings like, he want to get back at him, basically. So the cop, he finally says, yes, he going to work with Sax. But he like, as long as we doing it by the book or whatever. He was like, oh, of course. I'm like, the Sax don't know what to do he don't even know what by the book means. So I'm just like, whatever. So then Tyreek is with Dr. Milgram. Is it Dr. Milgram? Professor Milgram, whatever. He with her. Child, she too friendly. I don't know. Something ain't right with her. He asking, he like, well, why am I here? She like, well, do you need anything? Do you want to talk? I know your dad's funeral is tomorrow. This is a safe space for you to talk or whatever. Maybe if you can talk and then get things out, you can see your dad in a different light. And we see Zeke text them, like, where you at or whatever. And Tyreek was basically like, I don't have nothing to talk about. I got to focus on school. I got to do all this stuff. And she like, well, society is, what she say? Society or culture kind of looks down on black men speaking their piece, speaking their emotions, all that other stuff, And so she like, this is a safe space. Like, I'm not going to judge you. You need to talk or whatever. Get your emotions out and stuff. He like, nah, I'm good with that. Can I be excused? So he like, I don't want to talk about my feelings. I really don't care about the man too much, because we know why Tyreek is acting the way he acting, basically. But she don't know that. And she trying to dig more into it. I don't know. But she goes to the other professor. I think his name was Reynolds. I want to say his name was Reynolds. I'm not 100% sure. But I think his name was Reynolds. And she goes to talk to him. And she like, well, Tyreek is not... What'd she say? She said something, child. Let me see. She said, like, Tyreek is not processing well or something, giving his feelings or something like that. He was like, oh, yeah, because you said that he was motivated and all this other stuff. But we on the second book and he didn't even read that book. So, like, what's going on? She was like, oh, no, he's not processing his feelings well and stuff. And he like, well, why would he? Like, he don't got time. He a black man. He don't got time to be processing his feelings. So she all like, well, he need to, and we gonna have a visual for him, his dad on the campus. And he like, no, you're not. And she was like, yes, we are. We're gonna do that or whatever. And they get into it, child. And she said something like, the way you shared my story or shared my truth in a book, and he was like, I apologize for that. I guess he wrote a book about her or something and exposed all her business, and that's why they broke up or something. I don't know. But next thing I know, child, they was tongues down each other's throat, and she was getting power drilled on the desk. I said, what? Huh? I was so confused because they was talking about Tyreek and how he don't need, because the guy was like, he don't need all this publicity on him or focus on him because everybody already knows who he is. He doesn't need any more of this attention. Like, why are you doing this visual? Have you even asked him if he wants this visual and stuff like that? And then she turned into like, well, no, I haven't asked him. And then they went into the whole book thing, and then they was fucking. I said, what? Oh, okay. Because he was like, well, why'd you get me this job here or something like that? Because you knew it was going to turn into this. And then he came up behind her, rubbed on her booty. That got her all stirred up. And that's when I said, oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we needed a sex scene. So, anyway, next scene, we see her. She having coffee with this lady. We find out it's her sponsor. And she's telling the lady, like, I had sex with him. And she was like, don't tell me it's going to be like it was different this time around, or you thought it was going to be different this time around. She was like, no, but I didn't think that he was still over. No, what she said? She was like, oh, well, why did you get him a job there? She was like, well, I thought he was over me or over it or whatever. She was like, why would you think that if you're not over it or whatever? She was like, I don't know, but he wasn't working in my department. Then somebody quit or resigned or something. And now he's working in my department. So now we're close and stuff like that. And the lady like, look, what you need to do is when you see him, walk away. If you are near him, just talk about school. If you have to be in the office with him, just leave the door open. Don't be alone, basically like that. And then she said something like, your sex love addiction was cute in your 20s. Do you want that to continue? So she got some kind of addiction on sex and falling in love or something. I don't know. But she said also, like, do you want to be that girl that he wrote about in the book? So that's why I said he wrote a book about her business or something like that. And that's what fueled her to leave him, I guess. I don't know. They didn't really go deep into that. But I'm like, is that why she keep obsessing with Tyreek? Like, did she have like some kind of sex or some kind of addiction over? Like, what is going on? Because something going on with her over Tyreek. I don't know what it is, but I know it's something. But at any rate, child, we see we at the auntie's house or whatever, and they eating dinner and whatever, and Kane and the other brother just looking at Tyreek real weird, like why the fuck is he here? Like, you know, what's his story type thing. And they talking and stuff. In come Uncle Frank, because Kane went to the door. Uncle Frank, he there, and Monet like, what the hell you doing here? I thought we said we had a couple years or whatever. He was like, well, you know, I got out early or whatever. She was like, why you get out early? I know it wasn't for no good behavior. And he's trying to talk up the family and stuff. And she like, what you want? Like, why are you here? Whatever. He was like, well, I need a little bit of work and stuff like that. Lorenzo said he got me when I got out. She was like, Lorenzo ain't say shit. He ain't got nobody back. So what the fuck you doing here or whatever? And he said something like, well, you always say family first and you running things or whatever. She was like, dinner over. Diana, get the plates. Kane, she was like, Zeke, you been drinking, so you stay tonight. Kane, you take Tyreek home. The other brother was like, no, I got him. I'll take him home, because I think he thought that Kane was about to do something to Tyreek. And Monet was like, you heard what I said or whatever. So she told the other brother to get Frank and, get a drink, sit down with him or whatever like that. They dispersed. We see Kane, he pulling over to the side of the road with Tyreek in there. He got his gun ready and everything. He basically like, yo, what happens in my house stays in my house, and you better not run your mouth about nothing going on in this house. He was like, yo, we cool. Like, you ain't got nothing to worry about. He was like, no, what I'm saying, he's basically trying to punk Tyreek. Tyreek like, look, I ain't got, I'm good or whatever like that. What you need to be worried about is your hot ass Uncle Frank, because he's a snitch. She was like, what you talking about? He was like, he's a rat. Rats get out real quick and real quiet, and he runs it down like, what did he say? Like, arraignments take a long time, parole take this time, and all this other stuff. Why you think he all coming up here all happy to see y'all? Has he ever been that happy to goddamn see y'all in y'all life or whatever? He just running it down and stuff like that. He was like, look, I ain't got time for this. Zeke need me to help tutor him. He need to be in school to be on basketball. I'm trying to help you and Monet out. You ain't got to worry about me. Come on, let's go. Goddamn, Kane was looking like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, I did like Tyreek in that moment. We see the visual. That was just a mess. People taking selfies with goddamn James' picture. They looking at Tyreek like he a celebrity. Tyreek walks up and he looking like, what the hell is going on? Brayton is like, sheltering him and stuff. And he like, yo, you okay, man? He was like, no, let's just go to that frat party you told me about. And they leave or whatever. The dang on professor, she looking all stuck like she don't even know what the hell she just did wrong. I'm just like, Then we see Monet. She talking to Diana. Diana putting the food away and stuff. And she asking her, like, what should we do about Frank or whatever? And she was like, well, you always said family first. That's what you taught us. She was like, blood and family is two different things or whatever like that. He got out early and your daddy ain't tell us nothing. What you think about that or whatever? She was like, well, I don't know. She was like, well, you need to ask him. And you seen the way he was looking at you or whatever. You probably need to get the information from him because he gonna talk over your dad, because she was like, we can't ask your dad or whatever. And she was saying something about that look he was giving you, that's power and stuff, so you need to go talk to him. I was like, And Monet already know that Frank a rat. And then Kane came in, and then Kane tells them what Tyreek said, because he was like, yo, Zeke was right, that boy's smart. And she was like, what you mean? And he was like, yeah, Tyreek said that Uncle Frank was a rat. And everybody said it all in unison. So she was like, well, what else Tyreek said or whatever. And then she told Kane to basically handle Frank. And then so Monet goes to wake up Zeke, and she asked Zeke, like, did Tyreek invite himself over here or did you invite him? And he was like, well, he had asked about it. She was like, what you know about this kid? And he was like, I don't know nothing. She was like, well, you better learn. So then we see Brayton. He at the frat party, he recording, you know how Brayton do, child. His brother acting like a real dick. He basically telling him, like, you need to leave out of here. You need to take your friend out of here and stuff like that. The bartender or whoever was pouring these drinks in this ice sculpture or whatever, he was like, oh, yo, your daddy is James St. Patrick. You can stay here or whatever. You like a celebrity. So we hear a knock at the door. It's the cops or whatever, or the campus cops or whatever. The brother, he real dick-like. So he one of them guys who just be doing shit and know he gonna get out of trouble because of his daddy's and mama's money or whatever like that. Because he real rude to the cops. He end up punching the damn cop in the face or whatever. Dave was handcuffing him, about to take him down. Brayton had to go over there and let them know, like, look, I'm a Weston or whatever. And they was like Weston in the auditorium. And he was like, yeah, in the pool. So then they had to handcuff him, let the brother go and get back to the party. Tyreek watching this the whole time. So he calculating in his head like, he got pulled. We're not going to get in trouble. And then the brother's friend also said something about drugs or something like that. Because one little hippie guy, he had a joint. And he was like, you can't get nothing better up in here. And Brayden was like, yo, man, I'm telling you, you can sell some drugs and stuff like that. We can make some bank off these frat boys. So, like I said, Tyreek is calculating all that in his head. We see Tasha in jail. She looking at the CO. The CO talking to this one lady, and they got something going on. I don't know, selling drugs or what they got going on, child. But the inmate, she was asking for a plan B. The CO like, who dick you been riding up in here or whatever. She was like, you don't need to worry about all that. All you need to worry about is get me a plan B pronto, or I'm going to have all the girls up on your ass or something like that. I said, So Tasha was clocking all that. We see Davis and what's that man name? Sachs in the judge's chambers. And basically Davis trying to get the case dropped or whatever. And they want to talk to Sullivan to find out why. And Sullivan is the DA, the lawyer or whatever, who was originally prosecuting Tasha, to find out why she dropped the charges and sent it over to federal charges. So they're going to talk to her at a later time. Then we see at the funeral and everything like that, they were saying goodbye to Raina. It's like a whole bunch of people there. The grandmama like, Tyreek, why would you afford all this? And we know, he's struggling and stuff. He was like, I ain't do this. I don't even know these people. Child, we see Rashad there. Hey, how you doing? I said, always the politician. We we see Tasha, no, I think Davis came up and was like, Tasha gonna get a eulogy because that's her way of, you know, giving her testimony basically without tainting the jury, without, you know, being silenced and all this other stuff. She pulls up. Her dress was cute and everything. They put the handcuffs on her like boom, boom. David's like, no, she can't have no handcuffs on her. How she gonna get a eulogy and stuff? Sax was like, yeah, you thought you was gonna taint the jury poll and all this other stuff by her saying something. Not today. She can't even talk, child. They was like, don't say nothing, inmate. So she can't even talk or nothing like that. Rashad, because they was like, well, who gonna get a eulogy? Who gonna say something? And Rashad was like, well, I'll say something. I'll say it. They was like, no. So Tyreek was like, well, I'll say it. I'll do it or whatever. So he wants to do the eulogy. He trying to figure out what he gonna say because they like, well, what you gonna say? The uncle, what was the uncle's name? Gabe. The uncle comes up to Tyreek, introduces himself, says, you know, I'm Gabe and stuff like that. I'm your dad's uncle. And was saying like all these good things about James or whatever. So then the preacher, he gets up there, the pastor gets up there, and he's saying more good words about James and stuff. And then they open up the floor to Tyreek. Tyreek's eulogy was good. He was like, some people want to say my dad was a bad guy, a drug dealer, a murderer, and stuff like that. And then on the other hand, people are telling me to say like, my dad was this good guy. He was all these things, you know, good heart, yada, yada, yada. But the truth is he was a complicated man. And he was saying like, good. He was like, his family was a reflection of himself. He wanted to do what was best for us. Tyreek was saying that he learned a lot from his dad. And he said he was learning more about his dad more when he was dead than when he was alive and stuff like that. And he was like, and I know he wanted to give me the life he never had. I'm the manifestation of what he couldn't be or whatever. So it was good. Tyreek finished everything. They burying him and whatnot. Tasha runs up to Tyreek and was like, I need, what she say? I need currency. I need a plan B pill for somebody in a jail or whatever. So they snatched her away real quick. We see back in the chamber, Sullivan. So Sullivan is in there and they're asking her questions like, well, why did you give her this deal and then pull the deal and stuff? And did you know about Tommy? And she was like, no, I didn't know about Tommy. I didn't know about this. I wasn't offered anything, but I did find it real strange when Sax gave me this deal and then he pulled it out and then I saw him in the courtroom or whatever like that. And so they was about to, you know, get the case dropped or whatever. And then Sax was like, look, I got another witness. Can we pull her out? Child, it was Rodriguez. I said, Lord. her annoying ass voice. Oh, God. She sound like Rosie Perez, but with something in her mouth. She just, I hate her voice. So I hope we don't see her no time soon again, child. But anyway, she get up there and she basically want to spill everything about Sax and, you know, his bad behavior and all that other stuff. But Sax like, look, we ain't got time for that shit. Yes or no. Just answer yes or no. So he asked her about what was that man's name? Silvers. You know her, the guy that Terry Silver. He asked about that. She like, did Tasha tell us what a body was? All this other stuff. And she was like, yeah, but that's not the whole. Yes or no? She was like, yes. He was like, okay. So then Dave was like, well, it looks like she wants to say some more. And the judge was like, she can at trial or whatever. So the cases wasn't dismissed or anything like that. But the judge is telling Sax, like, you need to play by the book. I need to see everything in writing by the book or whatever. He was like, oh, okay, of course. Child, the next scene, which was good as fuck. We see Uncle Frank, he at the bar drinking or whatever like that. We see Kane, he comes in. He Jimmy in the door, like locking that jank. Next thing, he pops him in the head, boop, over the head with the gun, knocks Uncle Frank out. Somebody comes, drag the body to the back, pop, they shot him in the head 2 times, cut his ass up, put his ass in the barrels, and then put him in the truck. I said, well, damn, that was a good little smooth operation. Like, that shit was quick, yo, okay? Then we see Diana, she at the dorm room or whatever, talking to Tyreek. And she's basically telling Tyreek, like, look, what's his name? Kane told us what you said about Uncle Frank being a snitch and stuff like that. He was like, well, did Monet send you over here? She was like, no, I came over here on my own because I was impressed and whatnot. And so then Tyreek asked her, can you talk to your dad and stuff because my mom needs protection. I need to get something to her in a book or whatever. So she was like, oh, okay. She gets back home and Monet like, where you been? She was like, oh, I was at the dorm and stuff, and I found out some information. His mom needs protection or plan B for somebody in there. And she was like, oh, okay, I can handle that. Next we see Tasha in her cell. She sit on her bed. It's a book underneath the mattress or whatever. Inside the book, Great Expectations, it's a phone. The phone has a number in there. It says unknown number or something like that. She calls it. It's attached to another phone in Tyreek's room. They start talking. And she like, I don't know how you did this or whatever like that. But how you paying for Davis? I need you to stay out of trouble and all of stuff. He was like, look, remember what Dad said? Either drug dealers end up dead or in jail. But I think I found another way. So, I think we had saw Brayden at that point, or I don't know if we saw Brayden, but at any rate, we see Kane pulling up to his house. The cop is in front of the house, the one sleeping with Monet. He getting out the car with a folder and a bottle of wine. So Kane sees all this, child. Kane keeps driving past the house. Inside the house, the cop's giving her a bottle of wine and a folder. She opened up the folder. And she was like, there's some snitch papers or whatever. He was like, yeah, Frank disappeared a few days ago. And she was like, yeah, but you giving me this right now. You talking about connections and stuff like that. You couldn't even protect me. Why would you let him come up in my house? And he was a snitch. She was like, look, I didn't know. I just found out. She was like, look, this is what I can't deal with. He was like, look, I told you I got you or whatever like that. How can I prove it or whatever? She was like, oh, okay. I'm going to give you a second chance. But you need to tell me what you can find out about Tyreek. And, what should say, Tyreek St. Patrick or whatever. And then it went off. I said, ooh, child. I said, this is Monet stuff is good. I like that part. I like the whole Monet and her family scenes. And we need to find out what's going on with this goddamn professor, because something ain't right with her. Like, is she trying to sleep with Tyreek? What's going on? She is just too obsessed with this boy. What y'all thought about the episode down there? Y'all let me know in them comments down below. If y'all like this recap, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching this review but not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.